I surveyed my life with a contented sigh. I had built a good life, a beautiful life, a loving husband, a charming home. I had it all, or so I thought. On the surface, Mia's life shimmered, reflecting a picture of absolute perfection. Ethan, her husband, was a rising star in the legal world. His ambition was both intoxicating and reassuring. He had a drive that promised success, a success they would share. I believed in him from the start, my unwavering support a silent vow I made on our wedding day. Our home, nestled in a quiet cul-de-sac, was our sanctuary. It was filled with laughter, whispered secrets, and the comforting rhythm of our life together. Each room held a memory, a testament to our shared journey. Mia had poured her heart into creating a warm and inviting space for them. She had sacrificed her own career aspirations for their life together. It had felt like the right choice, the only choice. Ethan needed her, relied on her, and Mia, with her heart overflowing with love, had embraced the role of the supportive wife. I had never once regretted my decision, until now. I had always believed in the sanctity of marriage, in the unbreakable bond between two souls. I had poured my heart and soul into my relationship with Ethan. My world revolved around his happiness, his success. Ethan's long hours at the law firm were a testament to his dedication. I understood the demands of his profession, the sacrifices it required. I ensured our home was a haven for him, a place where he could unwind and recharge after grueling days battling legal battles. I took pride in being the perfect wife, the woman behind the successful man. Mia hosted dinner parties for Ethan's colleagues, her smile never faltering, her conversations always sparkling with wit and charm. She was the epitome of grace and elegance, a true asset to her husband's burgeoning career. Their life together was a tapestry woven with threads of shared dreams, whispered ambitions, and quiet moments of intimacy. I cherished every touch, every glance, every stolen kiss. My love for Ethan was an unyielding flame burning bright and true. Olivia, with her infectious laughter and vivacious personality, had become a permanent fixture in their lives. She was Mia's confidant, her rock, the sister she never had. They shared everything, secrets whispered late at night, dreams for the future, and the joys and anxieties of their lives. Olivia possessed an uncanny ability to make me feel seen, understood. She listened without judgment, offering advice and support in equal measure. I trusted her implicitly, my heart a safe haven for Olivia's vulnerabilities and triumphs. We were two halves of a whole, our friendship a beacon of strength and unwavering loyalty. Social gatherings were incomplete without Olivia's infectious energy. She could light up a room with her radiant smile and quick wit, effortlessly captivating everyone around her. Ethan, too, seemed to gravitate towards her vibrant energy, their conversations filled with laughter and shared jokes. I cherished the close bond Ethan and Olivia shared, believing it a testament to our open and loving nature. Little did Mia know, a viper lay hidden in the garden of her happiness, its venom slowly seeping into the very foundation of her life. The first crack appeared subtly, a barely perceptible tremor that shook Mia's world. It began with Ethan's late nights at the office, his excuses becoming increasingly flimsy, his demeanor distant and preoccupied. The once familiar warmth in his eyes had been replaced by a flicker of something else, something cold and unsettling. I brushed aside the gnawing unease in my heart, attributing it to my own insecurities. Ethan was a busy lawyer, a man on the rise. Of course he would have to make sacrifices. Of course his work would consume him at times. I refused to be the clingy wife, the woman who stifled her husband's ambitions. But doubt, like a persistent weed, had a way of taking root. It whispered insidious thoughts in Mia's ear, casting shadows of suspicion on the seemingly unbreakable bond she shared with Ethan. She tried to ignore it, to smother the growing fear that threatened to consume her. Then came the text message. It flashed across the shared tablet, a single sentence that shattered Mia's world into a million pieces. The words, stark and cold, confirmed her worst fears. Ethan was having an affair, and the other woman was none other than Olivia. The words on the screen seemed to burn into my retinas, each letter a searing brand against my soul. It was an innocuous message, a simple "I miss you," but the sender's name sent a wave of nausea crashing over me. Olivia, my supposed best friend, my confidant. The room around me seemed to tilt, the familiar objects blurring at the edges as a wave of dizziness washed over me. The life I had so carefully constructed, the life I had believed in with unwavering certainty, was nothing more than a carefully crafted illusion, a house of cards built on a foundation of lies. Denial, a desperate lifeline in a sea of despair, flickered briefly within me. It couldn't be true. There had to be a rational explanation, a misunderstanding that could be easily explained away. Olivia was my friend, my confidant, the one person I trusted implicitly. But deep down, a terrifying certainty took root. The late nights, the evasive answers, the flicker of something cold and unfamiliar in Ethan's eyes, it all clicked into place, forming a horrifying mosaic of betrayal. The two people I loved most in the world, the two people I had entrusted with my heart, had shattered it into a million pieces. The confrontation was inevitable, a storm brewing within me that threatened to unleash its fury. I had to know the truth, no matter how painful it might be. Armed with the evidence that scorched my soul, I confronted Ethan. The color drained from his face as he saw the tablet in her hand, the incriminating message displayed on the screen. For a fleeting moment, guilt flickered in his eyes, a silent admission of his transgression, but it was quickly replaced by a mask of indifference, a chilling detachment that cut Mia to the core.
It's not what you think.
He stammered, his voice devoid of conviction. The words felt hollow, empty pronouncements that did nothing to quell the storm raging within her. He didn't even try to deny it, to offer a plausible explanation. The truth hung heavy in the air between them, a suffocating shroud of betrayal and deceit. "How could you?" Mia whispered, her voice trembling with a mixture of anger and heartbreak. The question hung in the air, unanswered and unanswerable. The man she loved, the man she had built her life around, was a stranger, his true nature hidden beneath a veneer of charm and ambition. Ethan, with a callous disregard for the woman who had stood by his side for years, offered no apologies, no explanations. He simply packed a suitcase, his movements mechanical, his face an emotionless mask. Each item he tossed into the bag felt like another nail hammered into the coffin of their marriage.
I never really loved you.
He spat, the words venomous darts aimed at the heart of her being. They hung in the air, poisonous barbs that pierced through the fragile remnants of her love, leaving behind only the bitter sting of betrayal. In that moment, Mia saw him for what he truly was, a selfish, ambitious man who had used her to further his own goals. The life they had built together, the memories they had shared, the love she had so freely given, it all meant nothing to him. He discarded their past as easily as he discarded the shirt she had ironed for him only that morning. The realization hit Mia with the force of a physical blow, leaving her gasping for breath in the wreckage of her shattered dreams. As Ethan walked out the door, his footsteps echoing in the sudden silence of their home, Mia felt a strange sense of detachment wash over her. It was as if she were watching the scene unfold from a distance, her body numb, her mind struggling to process the magnitude of the loss. The pain of Ethan's betrayal was a visceral thing, a crushing weight that threatened to consume me. Tears flowed freely, a torrent of grief and anger that seemed to have no end. But as the days turned into nights, a strange transformation began to take hold within me. The love I had once felt for Ethan, the love that had burned so brightly within me, slowly turned to ashes. In its place, a steely resolve began to take root, a fierce determination to reclaim my life, my dignity, my sense of self. I had been wronged, used, discarded like a worn-out garment, but I would not be broken. The world had tilted on its axis, leaving me disoriented, lost in a maze of pain and uncertainty. But even as I grieved for the life I had lost, a flicker of defiance ignited within me. I would not let Ethan's betrayal define me. I would not let Olivia's treachery break me. As I stood by the window, watching the sun sink below the horizon, I made a silent vow. I would rise from the ashes of my shattered life, stronger and more resilient than ever before. I would have my revenge, and it would be sweet. The seeds of revenge, once planted in the fertile ground of my pain, took root with astonishing speed. My heartbreak morphed into a steely resolve, a burning desire to see Ethan and Olivia suffer the consequences of their actions. I had been discarded, betrayed by the two people I had trusted most in the world. Now it was my turn to play the game. Gone was the heartbroken wife, the woman content to exist in the shadow of her husband's ambition. In her place emerged a force to be reckoned with, a woman fueled by a righteous anger that burned with the intensity of 1,000 suns. I knew that to truly hurt Ethan, I had to strike at the very foundation of his carefully constructed life, his career, his reputation, his freedom. Olivia, too, would face the consequences of her actions. I knew that beneath my friend's charming facade lurked a deep-seated insecurity, a desperate need for validation and approval. I would expose her true nature, revealing the manipulative heart that beat beneath the surface. As the days turned into weeks, I threw myself into my plan with the single-minded focus of a woman possessed. My grief, though still present, was now a distant companion, a shadow lurking at the edges of my consciousness. It was the fire of revenge that fueled me, the promise of justice that kept me going. Knowledge, I knew, was my greatest weapon. I had always possessed a sharp mind, a keen eye for detail. Now I would use those skills to unravel the carefully woven tapestry of Ethan's deceit, exposing the threads of his lies one by one. I began by meticulously reviewing our financial records, my suspicion growing with each bank statement, each credit card bill. Ethan, I discovered, had been living a double life, siphoning funds into offshore accounts, hiding assets, and making investments that spoke of a greed that chilled me to the bone. My investigation extended beyond our shared finances. Armed with a hidden camera and a heart hardened by betrayal, I began to tail Ethan and Olivia, documenting their clandestine meetings, their stolen moments of intimacy. With each photograph, each video clip, the evidence of their affair mounted, a damning indictment of their treachery. My world narrowed to a laser focus on my objective, exposing Ethan and Olivia for the frauds they truly were. I became a shadow, moving silently through the shadows, gathering the threads of their betrayal, weaving them into a tapestry of my own making. With a growing sense of satisfaction, I watched as my plan began to take shape. I had amassed a treasure trove of incriminating evidence, a damning portrait of Ethan's fraudulent activities. Now it was time to unleash my carefully orchestrated storm. Anonymously, I contacted the authorities, my voice a hushed whisper, my words carefully chosen to inflict maximum damage. I detailed Ethan's financial misdeeds, the offshore accounts, the hidden assets, the elaborate web of lies he had spun to maintain his facade of respectability. My next target was Ethan's law firm, a prestigious institution built on a foundation of integrity and trust. I knew that a scandal involving one of their own would send shockwaves through the legal community, tarnishing their reputation and shaking them to their core. With a few well-placed leaks, I ensured that the news of Ethan's impending downfall spread like wildfire. I watched from the shadows as his world began to crumble, the carefully constructed edifice of his career collapsing around him like a house of cards. Ethan's downfall was only the first act in my carefully orchestrated revenge. Olivia, the woman who had betrayed my friendship in the most profound way imaginable, would not escape unscathed. I knew her weaknesses, the insecurities that lurked beneath her confident exterior. With the precision of a surgeon, I launched a whisper campaign, targeting Olivia's social circle, her professional network, her carefully curated online persona. I planted seeds of doubt, dropped hints of Olivia's duplicity, and watched as the rumors spread like wildfire. Social media became my weapon of choice, a platform where I could anonymously expose Olivia's true nature to the world. I created fake profiles, shared incriminating photos, and crafted posts that dripped with just enough truth to be believable, while leaving enough unsaid to fuel the flames of gossip. Olivia, accustomed to being the center of attention for all the right reasons, found herself at the center of a scandal she could neither control nor contain. Friends distanced themselves, job offers evaporated, and her carefully crafted image crumbled around her. The wheels of justice, once set in motion, turned with an inexorable force. Ethan, stripped of his law license, his reputation in tatters, faced a litany of charges: fraud, embezzlement, money laundering.
The man on trial, Ethan, facing the consequences of his actions, was a stranger, a hollow shell of the person he had once been.
I watched from the gallery, feeling no sense of triumph, no surge of satisfaction. Olivia, though not facing criminal charges, had nonetheless suffered a different kind of punishment. From my vantage point in the gallery, I watched as the prosecution meticulously presented their case, each piece of evidence a nail in the coffin of his carefully constructed life.
Former colleagues, their faces a mixture of shock and thinly veiled schadenfreude, watched from the gallery, whispering amongst themselves.
His attorney, a seasoned shark with a reputation for ruthlessness, fought tooth and nail, but even his considerable skills were no match for the mountain of evidence I had painstakingly gathered. With each passing day of the trial, the walls seemed to close in tighter around Ethan. He had gambled everything on his ambition, his insatiable greed, and now he was paying the price.
A collective gasp rippled through the courtroom, followed by a hushed silence as the weight of the verdict settled over the room. The judge, his voice devoid of emotion, read out the litany of charges, each one a hammer blow to Ethan's shattered ego.
As the sentencing date was set, a strange sense of detachment washed over me. Ethan's downfall, though of his own making, felt more like a tragedy than a victory. The man being led away in handcuffs, his head bowed in shame, was a stranger to me, a ghost of the man I had once vowed to love and cherish. The life they had built together, the dreams they had shared, felt like distant memories, faded photographs from a life she no longer recognized.
Once accustomed to tailored suits and boardroom negotiations, I now navigated a world of concrete walls, iron bars, and the ever-present stench of despair.
Gone were the sycophants, the hangers-on who had flocked to his side during his days of power and influence.
I, the master manipulator, the architect of my own demise, was now utterly alone, abandoned by the very people I had once considered my peers. My nights were haunted by nightmares, vivid reminders of my past transgressions, the faces of those I had wronged swimming before my eyes.
Now, stripped of his freedom, his reputation, and his dignity, he was forced to confront the hollowness of his existence, the crushing weight of his sins. While Ethan languished in prison, Olivia faced a different kind of punishment, a public shaming that played out on the digital stage. The internet, once a tool for my carefully curated self-promotion, had transformed into a relentless beast, its jaws snapping at my heels, tearing at the fabric of my carefully constructed persona. Mia's whisper campaign had been devastatingly effective, fanning the flames of gossip into a raging inferno of public humiliation. Job offers dried up, friendships evaporated, and my carefully crafted world imploded, leaving me isolated and adrift in a sea of public condemnation. The woman who had craved attention, who had thrived on the validation of others, was now drowning in the consequences of her actions, her reputation in ruins, her future uncertain. Ethan and Olivia, once bound together by their ambition and deceit, now found themselves united in their downfall, each paying the price for their transgressions.
We had gambled with the lives of others, treating love and loyalty as disposable commodities in our relentless pursuit of wealth and status.
Olivia, stripped of her social standing and her carefully crafted persona, was left to grapple with the consequences of her choices. The validation I had so desperately craved, the adoration I had mistaken for love, had vanished, leaving behind a gaping void that echoed with the emptiness of my own making. They had sown the seeds of their destruction, and now they were reaping the bitter harvest. It was a silence that spoke of emptiness, of a life upended, of a future yet to be written. But as the days turned into weeks, Mia began to find a strange solace in the quiet solitude. I had shed the life I once knew, the life built on a foundation of lies and betrayal. The apartment, sparsely furnished but filled with natural light, became her sanctuary, a blank canvas upon which she could paint the next chapter of her life. I was reclaiming my life piece by piece, rediscovering passions I had long forgotten, embracing the woman I was always meant to be. The desire for revenge, the driving force that had fueled me for so long, had burned itself out, leaving behind a quiet strength, a steely resolve. I had always possessed a sharp mind, a natural affinity for the law, a passion for justice that had been buried beneath the weight of my role as the dutiful wife. The idea for the law firm came to me gradually, a seed planted in the fertile ground of my own pain, nurtured by my desire to make a difference in the lives of others. I would create a space where women, like myself, who had been wronged, betrayed, and discarded, could find their voice, their strength, their path to healing. I had faced my demons and emerged from the fire, stronger, more resilient, ready to take on the world. Women, their lives touched by betrayal, by abuse, by the insidious poison of power imbalances, flocked to Mia's door, seeking solace, guidance, and a champion for their cause. Mia, I approached each case with compassion, with empathy, but also with an unwavering determination to fight for my clients' rights, to ensure that their voices were heard, that justice was served. I had been through the fire myself, and I knew the importance of having someone in your corner, someone who believed in you, someone who would fight for you when you no longer had the strength to fight for yourself. Years passed, and Mia's life took on a rhythm, a sense of purpose she had never thought possible. Mia, my law firm, flourished, a testament to my hard work, my dedication, and my unwavering commitment to my clients. Mia never forgot the lessons learned from the ashes of her shattered marriage. Mia. As I looked out over the city from my office window, the setting sun casting the skyline in a warm glow, a profound sense of peace washed over me. I had built a life I was proud of, a life dedicated to helping others find their own strength, their own path to healing. Mia allowed herself a small, satisfied smile as she reviewed the final documents spread across her desk. Mia justice, though slow and often arduous, had been served. Olivia, though spared the harsh realities of prison life, had nonetheless faced a different kind of reckoning. Mia karma, it seemed, had a way of settling scores, of balancing the scales of justice. I had set in motion a chain of events that exposed their true natures, revealing the rot that lay beneath their carefully curated veneers. The woman reflected in the glass was a stranger, yet intimately familiar. Gone was the timid wife, the woman content to exist in the shadow of her husband's ambition. In her place stood a warrior, forged in the fires of betrayal, tempered by the icy winds of adversity. Mia. The journey had been long, fraught with pain, heartbreak, and moments of crippling self-doubt. But through it all, I had discovered a strength I never knew I possessed, a resilience that had allowed me to rise from the ashes of my shattered life, stronger, wiser, and more determined than ever before. She had traded the gilded cage of her former life for the boundless expanse of her own creation. Her law firm, a testament to her unwavering belief in justice, was a haven for women who had suffered similar betrayals, a place where they could find their voice, reclaim their power, and rebuild their lives. Mia. The fear that had once haunted me, the fear of being alone, of being defined by the actions of others, had vanished, replaced by a quiet confidence, a deep-seated knowledge that I was the architect of my own destiny. The world, once a source of pain and uncertainty, now shimmered with possibility, an invitation to embrace the unknown, to write my own story, on my own terms. Mia had not simply survived betrayal, she had transcended it, transforming her pain into purpose, her heartbreak into healing. She was living proof that even in the darkest of times, a flicker of hope, a spark of defiance could ignite a fire that burned brighter than any darkness could contain. Maya, I had embraced the flames and emerged, like a phoenix, reborn, renewed, and eternally empowered.